F1 Academy is back after their race at Jeddah. The main headline has to be Doriane Pin. Of course, Doriane Pin looked like she had swept the weekend, but then essentially what happened was she got disqualified after the second race for doing an additional lap after the race was done. Didn't you? So Abbi Pullen now has the points lead. And one of the big things, Abbi Pullen has 2 starts here in Miami in the W Series. 4th place, 6th place finish in those 2 races. But that was an F3 car. More horsepower compared to these F4 cars that have less horsepower. Emily, starting with you, does Abbi Pullen have the advantage over Doriane Pin and other drivers, or is that negated considering we got cars with less horsepower?
I mean, I think it's certainly going to make things interesting, right? With a car with less horsepower, I would say traditionally you have been to a track before. You do have that upper hand of the experience of racing there before. But I don't want to discredit the dominance that is Dorian Pin. So I think it's going to be extremely interesting to watch and make things a little bit more competitive for the ladies taking the track this weekend.
Yeah, I would definitely say that I think that having that knowledge of the track is definitely going to be a bit of an advantage for the drivers that have been there before. But like Emily said, I think that we don't want to underestimate the rest of the field and their ability to get up to speed with learning the track. And I'm sure they'll be ready to race come race time. So I think that while it's an advantage, I think that we're still going to see a pretty level playing field.
Well, first of all, I'll just echo what Joe said at the start. Welcome to the team, Emily. Happy to have you here, especially on this show. Any advantage that I think would be taken away because we're in slightly different cars than the W Series had, I think is going to be made up for by the fact that when you look past Doriane Pin, Abbi Pullen wasn't just the one that inherited the race to victory by virtue of finishing second on track. She was also second to Doriane Pin in the first race as well. So after her, I think she's been the clear number 2 driver to start the season. Of course, we're only 1 round and 2 races in, so not a great sample size over the course of a full year or anything like that. So that could change heading into Miami, but I expect those 2 to be the top 2 drivers once again this weekend for sure, and Pullen especially based on that experience that she has in the W Series car, like you mentioned, Joe.
Now, of course, when it came to the W Series, they raced here. That included Neria Marti, Chloe Chambers, Emily Duhaas, and Bianca Bustamante. They all raced here in the W Series. Marti finished 3rd in the second race here. That's the best finish out of any of the former W Series drivers in the field this weekend. Marti has 1 win, 7 podiums in F1 Academy, and is 5th in the points. Amanda, I got to ask you, overall, could this be a track where she could propel herself into the discussion as a championship contender?
Yeah, again, I think that having that track knowledge is going to help her out here, where she can focus a little bit more on just speed and doesn't have to spend as much time learning the track. And then she can just kind of focus on everything she needs to win the race. And I think she can definitely be put into that discussion of who's contending for the championship up there with Abbi Pullen and Doriane Pin. So yeah, I think that Marti definitely has a chance of making a name for herself as a championship contender at this race.
And I have to agree with Amanda's comments again. Having knowledge, being here before is certainly an advantage. And to Ben's point, we're early on in the season, so we can have some leader changes in their ranking, but we'll just have to watch and find out.